Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Casks-n-Que, where whiskey and barbecue meet. I'm your host, Justin Lloyd, and today it's backyard baby back ribs for the beginners. Stick around. I'm going to take you step by step on how to make some delicious baby back ribs, even for those folks out there that aren't experienced around the smoker or grill. Let's go. Here's what we need to get started. A rack of baby back ribs, one knife, paper towels, and some barbecue rub. Today we're rolling with Charcoal Cowboys Barbecue Red Dust. They are out of Nashville, Tennessee. This was gifted to me by my good friend Hans Oliver with Edgewood Solutions. Check out his website in the description box below. You're also going to need some apple cider vinegar and water mixture. This is a 50-50 mix. You can use just water if you like, but I like the tang that the apple cider vinegar provides. And of course, you're going to need a grill. So I happen to have a Blaze Kamado. It's just a Kamado style grill slash smoker. It's very versatile. Happens to be one of my favorite tools to use. Check out their product in the description box below. Let's give you a look on the inside. So to get started, I'm going to go ahead and remove this grate. This is a stainless steel plate that came with the grill. You can use a ceramic pizza pan or just an aluminum pan as a heat diffuser if you want to go on low and slow cooks. If you're not looking to do low and slow and you're looking to grill or something that requires high heat, like maybe some burgers or a steak, then just remove that plate. And here's just some lump charcoal that we had from last cook and a few little pieces of wood chunks I had in there. Just knocking off some of the ash right here so that the chunks will light back up nice and evenly. Let's pour some more in there. Some of you may be wondering, how does he know how much charcoal to use? Well, that just comes with experience. But I will say that you can go ahead and fill it up to the level that that second grate was on, which is about right here. And as long as you have the diffuser on, you can pretty much control your temperatures with the intake and the chimney. The next thing you're going to need is some wood. I happen to have a wood pile of some oak wood, so I'm just going to cut a few chunks off this stick right here. All right, now that we have some wood chunks, just throw them on in there. Doesn't really matter how, just try not to keep them too close together. I like to space them out a little bit, just like that. I like to use these tumbleweeds. Remember, everything that I'm using I'll put in the description box below. So let's toss those in there. Again, kind of spread them out evenly. I like to kind of bury it like that. Maybe loosely lay a piece of charcoal on top. Same thing over here. This doesn't have to be perfect. Don't spend a lot of time doing it. A little handy dandy lighter, Kingsford torch. And once that's going nice and hot, we'll put our diffuser plate back on along with our cooking grate. All right, while that fire is catching, let's go ahead and get these baby back ribs trimmed up and seasoned. I always like to start cutting from the back side, because if you cut into the ribs on the bottom, on the bone side, it doesn't matter. But a good way to avoid that is to start here, kind of work your way around. You got a place to start right there. Make sure your knife is sharp. I don't know if this one is or not. We'll find out. That's not too bad. And then just run the tip of the knife blade on down the back side of the packaging and this side. Don't ever cut towards yourself like that. Lop that off. Then make a little cut right here, just to keep it folded down. Next thing, take your paper towels, blot it dry. Makes it easier to handle. Doesn't have to be perfect. Flip it on back over. And the next thing we want to do is remove this membrane and trim down any excess meat or fat that's hanging off. So let's knock that down. Again, these aren't competition ribs. Always keep a Kroger sack handy, Walmart sack, HEB, whatever. If you cook the ribs with this membrane attached, it's fine, but it leaves a bit of a crunchy texture that if somebody happens to get a bite of, it's just not real pleasant. So we'll remove it today. A lot of times you have to take your knife tip and kind of work your way underneath. Kind of like this, I'll show you. Then once you get underneath that membrane, you can take your paper towel, and if you've been living right, it'll all come off in one fell swoop. I suspect this won't. Let's see. And that needs to come off. It's in the way. All right, let's try this again. There's a little bit better example right there. Try to get underneath that membrane. Take your paper towel and start pulling. Nope, it didn't do it. This one's going to be tricky. So just keep on grabbing at that membrane, and eventually it will come off. And this is a good example. You know, it's not going to come off perfectly every single time. All right, we have to make another cut over here. There we go. It's part of it. Let's get that other part off. To me, this is worth the effort. I don't always do it. If I'm in a big time hurry, I don't do it. But I'm not in a hurry today. And if this were a competition, then I would definitely do it. There's no questions. All right, good enough. Okay, so we're not really done trimming here. Let's remove this little piece right here because that's just gonna burn. It's so thin that it's just not gonna work out well. So let's remove that little tiny piece. So right between the bones. There we go. You can put that on the grill for a snack. It'll be done before the rack of ribs is. Do we have anything else we need to trim? Yes, this piece. It's weird. Get it off of there. You can see each bone here, right? So when it comes time to slice, that's gonna matter. You're gonna need to be able to slice between each bone. We'll get to that point. Let's knock this off. So this is a hot topic of debate, whether or not to use a binder. If the ribs are still kind of moist from the solution, the saline solution that they were in, then I don't bother with a binder at all. But if you want to use a binder, you can use apple cider vinegar, you could use mustard, just anything really, water. So again, we're using Charcoal Cowboys Barbecue Red Dust. My buddy Hans Oliver gave me this as a gift. So in a way, this is sponsored by his digital media marketing company. Link to his website in the description box below. Check him out. And we'll just give kind of a light dusting. I really like the color. And we don't want to rub. This stuff's called rub. I know that's what it's called. I hear you, but we don't want to rub it. We want to just pat it in. That'll be good enough. What we got right here? Do we need to trim that down? Yes, we do. Ribs will always have one side that's a lot thicker. Well, I say a lot thicker, a little bit thicker than the other side. And so we want a nice even cook. Baby backs are pretty lean anyway, so I'm going to leave that fat. You can trim it off. If I had spare ribs, that would be a different story. I may do a little more trimming. It's smelling good. This has got some brown sugar, spice, salt, paprika, regular sugar, seasoned salt, onion, cornstarch, garlic, and phosphates, and a bunch of other things. Black pepper, cayenne pepper, and allspice. Get that open. Let's get the grate back on. We're going to close that up, let the grate get heated up so we can clean it. Once you see thin blue smoke like that, you know your smoker's ready. What you don't want is thick, billowy smoke that looks like something just caught fire in your backyard. That's not what we're looking for. Nice, thin blue smoke, very important. So on this smoker, you'll see that's the intake for air. So obviously, the wider open, the hotter it's going to be. When you close it off, that chokes off the fire. To cook about 250 degrees, I like to leave it about right there. Same thing for the top. There's a lot of soot on there, but I have it about halfway, well, maybe 3/4. Let's go halfway. Leave that about halfway open. Yep, I know, I need to clean it. There's 1,000 ways to clean a grill grate, 1,000 different tools. What I don't recommend ever using is one of those wire brushes. You've heard stories about people getting a piece of wire lodged in their throats or in their stomachs even. Even one time I stepped on one, I didn't know it, and it embedded into the heel of my foot. It was terrible. So I use a wooden scraper. This is one of the char griller deals, and over time it develops grooves, as you can see, based on your own grill grate. And just make sure you don't use any of those wire brush ones. They're awful. All right, let's scrape this grate clean. And we've let this heat up, so I'm not too worried about this. This is left over from a ham cook that I did a while back. Well, I say a while back, it was yesterday. It was on Easter. Ooh. All right, that's good enough. Like I say, that grill's been hot for about 20 minutes, so all the nasty stuff's dead. Take your nice rack of ribs that you seasoned perfectly, place it on that grill, just like so. I like to kind of squish it together because it kind of keeps the shape that you put it on the grill as it's on the grill. Is that right? I don't know how to talk. Anyway, there you go. Do that. And we're cooking at about 225 to 250 degrees and wait for about an hour and a half. So what do? We have so much time. Well, I guess we can drink a beer. Crisis. I'm out of beer. I'm going to steal one of my wife's seltzers. All right, folks, these ribs have been on for about an hour and a half. Let's see what we look like. Looks good. Starting to get some pullback on the bones, as you can see right there. We're getting a little bit of char on that side. So we're going to go ahead and hit it with some of our apple cider vinegar mixture. And all this is doing is adding a little bit of flavor and keeping some char off of the ribs. We don't want to burn them. All right, these ribs are looking like they are ready to wrap. As you can see down here, we got the bones exposed pretty nicely. The fat is starting to really render. So at this point, I'm going to wrap these ribs. Now, a lot of people will use foil, which is fine. I use that often as well, but I found that using foil will sometimes cause the ribs to be a little mushy. So what we're going to use today is butcher paper. So we'll take our ribs, and what we want to do is hit it with another spritz. Now, you'll see a lot of guys, especially competition folks, they'll take some butter and some honey and all kinds of other stuff and put on the aluminum foil or the butcher paper to give the ribs a sheen and add additional flavor. We don't need to do that with backyard ribs. We're just going to hit it with some more spritz. This will add moisture, flavor, and keep the ribs from burning. That's all you need. So at this point, let's just go ahead and flip them over and keep it real simple. Fold the edges like that, like this. Then fold this side over and this side over, and then kind of do one of these numbers. And you're good to go. Back on the smoker. So we're gonna let that go about another 45 minutes and then we'll come back and check them out. All right, we pulled these off because I took a sneak peek. They're looking really good. Let me show you what we got. As you can see, great pullback on the bones. A cool little trick is to use a toothpick, and if it slides in real easy in between those bones, then you know that it's done, and that is probing like butter, as they say. Hardly any resistance. Now, I don't want completely fall off the rib bones. I like to have a little bit of a bite through, and that feels about perfect to me. Let's get to slicing. Go ahead and remove these from the paper and kind of be careful right here. You can kind of see where it's sticky. Sometimes if you're not careful, you can remove some of the bark that you worked hard to form, and it will tear away the bend test. It's starting to split. So basically what that means, if you hold the ribs like that and it starts to split like you see here, they're done. See, look at that color, looks great. So let's just slice in between these two bones here. Sometimes it's easy to feel for those bones, but you can see them right there. Let's just make a slice right through there. And I'm gonna go ahead and take that rib as our sample. And you can see that rib just has a great color. Bark is set up well. So you can see it's nice and juicy. So the real test will be the taste. Let's take a bite. Here we go. Maybe one of the better racks of ribs I've cooked lately. So this is really easy to do. Like I said, this is a beginner's recipe. You can get crazy and add all kinds of stuff. You know, you can do competition ribs, you can put honey glaze on there, you can finish it however you want. But this is really simple. It's one of my favorite styles and anybody can do it. I hope this video has been helpful for someone out there. If it has, go ahead and like, subscribe, and smash that bell. So when you click that bell, it's going to notify you when I upload a new video. Thanks for stopping by Casks-n-Que, where whiskey and barbecue meet. We'll see you next time.